He is the Father of us all. Romans 4:16. Welcome back to Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. I am your host, Phil Gonzalez, and this weekend, it is Father's Day. A day just like any other Sunday in that it exists and is there, and it is happening. It happens. And boy, oh boy, is it not Mother's Day. I used to wait tables. I waited tables at a restaurant here in the Twin Cities called Nora's. It was on Lake Street. Does not exist anymore. It was closed down and didn't rebuilt as Nora, her son, wanted to be a restaurateur as well, so it became his restaurant, and then that shut down, and now it's like condos or something. In any case, I used to wait tables, and the day every single server hated was Mother's Day, because Mother's Day is when people are at their crankiest, but we are at our busiest. Father's Day, however, there was nary a word ever said about Father's Day. Why? Because like I said up top, it was just like any other day, just like any other Sunday. But where does Father's Day come from, and why, and wherefore? Was it just a cool gender-flopped version of Mother's Day? Yes, basically. Did it come because someone saw Mother's Day and was like, but what about the fathers? Yes, pretty much. That's how it worked. Father's Day was created by Sonora Smart Dodd of Spokane, Washington in 1909. There had been a Father's Day celebration before then. It always gets pointed out in everything online about it, because there was a Father's Day acknowledgement before then, but it was Sonora Smart Dodd. It was from Arkansas, and she wanted to have a special day set aside because of her father, who, and this was interesting, William Jackson Smart was a Civil War veteran. And I was like, okay, well, who are we? Okay, but like, that doesn't mean anything, because Civil War veteran, could very well mean someone who we don't want to celebrate. But William Jackson Smart, Civil War veteran, lost 2 wives, raised his children as a single father. He was born in 1842, and he joined at the age of 19. He enlisted in the 1st Arkansas Light Artillery Battery. Now, I was like, okay, I don't know what that means. Were they the good guys or the bad guys in America's Civil War? And turns out they were the good guys. They were a Union army that fought for Arkansas. Apparently, there were quite a few, even though Arkansas was officially on the side of the Confederacy, there were quite a few Union armies in Arkansas, and he wanted to fight for the Union. So he joined the 1st Arkansas Light Artillery Battery, fought guerrilla bands in Arkansas and Missouri. And then after he got married, after he got out of the army, he married Elizabeth Harris, who passed away in 1878. Then he married Ellen Victoria Cheek Billingsley in 1880. And I guess they blended their families. And I guess she already had like a bunch of children when she married him. They had 8 children who were all under the age of 13 in 1880. So there you go. But then she died during the birth of their 6th child, and he was left alone raising those kids. And it was because of this that Sonora Smart Dodd, his daughter, wanted to create a day for fathers, because her father, apparently, this guy was like a cool dad, like super sweet, super compassionate, super good daddy, super hot papa. And in 1909, she attended a sermon on about Mother's Day, and she was like, well, we need a Father's Day because my dad did some cool stuff. And what about the guys? So she proposed the idea of Father's Day in Washington and starts a petition. A movement begins that gains nationwide traction. And her father, still alive at this point, lived long enough to see Father's Day become a thing. In 1919, at the age of 77, he passed away. But Father's Day did not become an official national thing until it was signed into a congressional resolution in 1972 by Tricky Dick himself, Richard M. Nixon, designated the 3rd Sunday in June as Father's Day. She wanted her father's birthday to be Father's Day, but we were like, nobody, he didn't really No. But the third Sunday in June is Father's Day. I mean, that's it. And then like after that, like other countries started adopting a Father's Day. And there's a lot more information about that. You can read all about the creation of Father's Day if you really want to. It gets tied in a lot with Independence Day. Like there was a lot of like, because some people were like, maybe it should just be about veterans. Like, and they're like, we kind of we're kind of working on a Veterans Day thing ourselves. So for a while it was supposed to just be a Veterans Father's Day, but they're like, no, it's just all dads in general. Like Mother's Day, there's controversy over the spelling. Dodd used Father's Day, Fathers apostrophe, and let's see, on her original petition, the spelling apostrophe S was already used in 1913 when a bill was introduced to the U.S. Congress as the first attempt to establish the holiday, and it was still spelled that same way when its creator was commended in 2008. So officially, it is Father's singular. It is your Father's Day, but she wanted it to be collective possessive, a father's, like all Father's Day. So which one do you prefer? I don't care. Not I don't care which one it is. I do care. I would say apostrophe S. I don't care which one you think is better. That's my official stance. And the official stance of Deep in Bear Country, a Berenstain Bearcast. Now, the 1st Arkansas Light No, I'm not actually going to go into the 1st Arkansas Light Artillery Battery because we've got other things to talk about. Why am I talking about Father's Day? And you know why I'm talking about Father's Day. What does this have to do with the Berenstain Bears, though? I bet you can guess. What this week's book is going to be. That's right. This week, we are covering the Berenstain Bears Father's Day Blessings by Mike Berenstain, a book that is a Reliving Lights book. It's a Zonderkid's book. This is a religious book, and it kind of ties it. The Bible has a lot to say about certain things, and it mentions motherhood a little bit, but it mentions fathers a lot. Why? I'll give you one guess, and it has to do with the main character of the Bible being kind of like the father of all. Like that's kind of the thing, is like Father's Day can also be positioned as like the big father, like everyone's father, the big daddy, hot papa up in the sky. The big Father's Day. And so Mike does a pretty cool job in this book of sort of bridging those two ideas, those two concepts. That's what this book is all about, like honoring your father and also honoring God the Father. I was hinting that it was God I was talking about, but I'm coming right out and saying it now. God the Father gets talked about in this book, not gonna lie. But also there's a song in this book, and I don't know this song, but I did some research on it, and the research was, if I remember correctly, very sad. So, because the guy who wrote it died in a very sad way that we'll talk about. So, get ready, hold on to your booties, because we're going to talk about some sadness. But first, the Berenstain Bears Father's Day Blessing. So it began with, of course, a Bible quote. He is the father of us all, from Romans. That's one of the not Gospels. Is it? That's not one of the Gospels. What am I talking about? I was on a roll, and I was like, Romans, the Gospel of Roman. The guy from Days of Our Lives. That Roman. That's exactly who I was talking about. No, this is the Epistle to the Romans by Paul. I'm not going to talk about Paul anymore. You know why? Because I talk about Paul a lot, and we have other things we need to talk about. But just know that the quote is from the Epistle to the Romans, the 6th book. You have your 4 Gospels. Then you have is it Acts? And then you have the Epistle to the Romans, the 6th book of the New Testament, the longest of the 13 Pauline epistles, composed by Paul the Apostle to explain that salvation is offered through the gospel of Jesus Christ, yada, 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 yada. He is father to us all. That's really all you need to know, because we're going to skip ahead and we're going to talk about the actual book. This is a 2018 book, by the way, so you're just not too old. So it's June. That's it. It's in Bear Country. It's June. Everyone's happy. Everyone's hanging out, and Father's Day is coming up, and the kids don't know what to do about Father's Day. It gets harder and harder to come up with something nice to do for your dad every year, doesn't it, everyone? Harder and harder. I'm going out to brunch this year. I'm very happy. Going out to brunch with my 2 wonderful kids and my 1 Wonderful, Alana. So brother's like, well, Papa can take us to the movies. We can go see Space Grizzlies. And sister's like, no, let's have a tea party with my Barbie dolls. And then honey's like, well, I want to play blocks. Papa can build me with blocks or build blocks with me. And mama's like, you know what? Sounds like you're just coming up with a bunch of things that you guys want to do. And brother's like, but Papa likes to do things with us. And she's like, yeah, but this is his special day, so let's plan something for him. And sister's like, I don't know what Papa likes to do. Complain. So mom was like, you know what? Grizzly Gran, I was with Grizzly Gran the other day, and we overheard Papa and Grizzly Gramps talking. And they want to go on a fishing trip together, so let's facilitate that. Let's help them go on a fishing trip. And while they're fishing, we'll set up a picnic lunch. And so brother's like, well, okay, but quick question. I understand your rule about this being Father's Day, but are we allowed to participate? If we have fun, will we get hollered at? Mom is like, I'm not going to holler at you if you end up having fun accidentally. Although you won't, because we're going to find out why it's not going to be much fun, because they wake up at 4 the next morning. Grizzly Gramps is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. The early bird gets the worm and the early bear catches the fish. It's 4 a.m. And we get some great Tired Cubs by Mike. I love when Mike stretches that Mike pencil and draws the Cubs doing things we're not used to seeing them doing. And we're not used to seeing the Cubs this tired. So they're a little cranky. They go downstairs where Papa's all set up. They're loading up the picnic basket. They hop in the red roadster, pulling a rowboat. And they head off to Silver Lake with rowboat behind. It's beautiful. And I like this. As they drove through the quiet countryside, the sky started to lighten and the sun rose in a great glow of pink and gold. It was very beautiful. The Cubs were glad they were up and about to see it. And we have here is a nice 2-page full spread of sort of the Bear Country countryside. We see the lake in the background in the distance. We see the Grizzly Mountains in the background. We see the sun rising up behind the mountains. Tulips and daisies. We see butterflies flying. It's a beautiful golden sunrise here in Bear Country. Papa and Gramps load the boat into the water. Everyone else starts setting up the picnic. Gramps and Papa are munching on snacks and just kicking back, relaxing. Kingfisher gets a fish out of the water. Fish jumps up. It's a beautiful day, and they are just there to relax. And Gramps says, you know, at times like these, I'm just thankful to be alive in God's beautiful world. This is a wonderful Father's Day for us, but we should always remember we have a Father in heaven, too. This is where a song kicks in that I'd never heard of, okay? And because I've never heard of it, I'm going to try to find a copy of the song to play or something. I don't know how the song goes. The song is, "This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my Father's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas. His hand the wonders wrought." I'm going to see if I can, how do you play this? How does this song go? Hold on, I'm going to see if I can. This is my Father's world, and to my listening ears, all nature sings and round me rings the music of the spheres. Great. Perfect. I did it. Great. That's religion for you. That's my religion right there. I found it. It's good. So I was very curious about this hymn. It seemed appropriate. It seemed right on the money, and it was written by Maltby Davenport Babcock, which is a heck of a name. Minister for the Brick Presbyterian Church in New York, published posthumously in 1901. Now this guy, Mr. Babcock, Maltby Davenport Babcock, his ancestors came in the 1600s. He came in the 1800s. He got his degree in 1882. Supposed to be an incredible minister. He was acclaimed for his oratory and use of colorful metaphors. He also led a fundraising effort to assist Jewish refugees from Russia who were victims of an anti-Jewish pogrom in the 1880s. He was honored by a Doctor of Divinity degree at Syracuse University in 1896. Seemed like a pretty solid dude. He was popular with the faculty of Johns Hopkins University. They tried to get him to remain at Brown instead of accepting the call to Brick Presbyterian. They loved him so much. He was a family man. He had kids. Here's the deal, though. Yes, he wrote not this song. He wrote this as a poem. He wrote "This Is My Father's World," published posthumously. How did he die? Like, what happened? So he has 2 kids. Oh, that's right. He had 2 kids. Both of his children died in infancy. That's depressing enough. That's very sad. He died. Okay. He died at the age of 42. He went on a trip to the Holy Land. He was in the Holy Land. On May 18th, 1901, he returns to Naples, Italy, because he's sick. The thing is, the gentleman took his own life. I will not tell you how. It is very upsetting. But the question was, what was going on? Well, apparently he had been treated for depression, but 10 years earlier. He had a depressive episode with what was called nervous prostration at the time in New York, 10 years before his death. He contracted what was then called Mediterranean fever, which is a term for brucellosis, also known as undulant fever, Malta fever, Mediterranean fever. It's caused by a lot of things. One of them, though, is by the ingestion or handling of unpasteurized milk from infected animals. And basically what happens when you get this is, I mean, a lot of things can happen to you. I read quite a bit about this afternoon, but it causes a fever, pain, and depression. And it's chronic. It's treatable now, but it's even the modern treatment now is like you have to get daily muscular injections for like 2 weeks, and also like some sort of like oral like medication just to like head this off the past. It's like, I think it's because it's like rabies. It's an infection that gets into your nervous system and then goes up to your brain. And even if you're cured, I believe you live with like the effects of it for the rest of your life. And chronic pain and depression are part of it. I guess it's more common in like goat herders, people like that. But if an animal is infected with this, and there's different kinds of this disease for different kinds of animals, like dogs can get a certain kind of it as well. But you handle goat's milk, you drink goat's milk, especially, and if the goat had it, then you just get it. Like you can just get this disease. And so he gets it. He falls into a depression. He's in chronic pain and he takes his own life. Very sad story. Very sad story. Very sad already. Also, he was apparently a pretty cool guy. And then he has all these family tragedies, and then he takes his own life. And so at his funeral in New York City, the presiding clergyman eulogized him. "We do not need a candle to show a sunbeam. The work our brother has done, the life he lived, speaks for him." He was eulogized by many prominent educators: Daniel C. Gilman, the first president of Johns Hopkins University; John Goucher, the founder of Goucher College; and Francis L. Patton, president of Princeton University. Like, this guy was popular. So he's buried at Oakwood Cemetery in Syracuse, New York. And so after he dies, he had written a poem while he was taking a walk around Lake Ontario. He told his wife he was going out to see the Father's world, is how he told her. And so he wrote this poem called "This Is My Father's World." This is my father's world. I read the lyrics before. It's pretty much the song. There's also at the Brown Memorial Presbyterian Church in Babcock's memory in 1905, a stained glass window. The Holy City was installed in his memory. It was designed by Tiffany, Louis Comfort Tiffany. So, this guy, people liked this guy a lot. He's got Tiffany glass devoted to him. In any case, "This Is My Father's World." It's a nice song. It's a nice hymn. And Papa just cracks it out. He just starts singing. "The music of the spheres, baby." And then Gramps joins him. "This is my father's world. I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas. His hand, these wonders wrought." And you see this really cool picture that Mike drew of Papa and Gramps out on the boat singing their hearts out. But they're in the background. And the image is framed on the right by a tree, and on the left by part of the shore in the background, but with trees growing. It's a nice framing of the image. And in the foreground, you have a deer, you have 2 raccoons, you have rabbits, and you have a cardinal and a bunch of flowers. Just sort of like it's a really nicely composed image, Mike. I really like this image of Gramps and Papa singing. This is them at their best. We know that Gramps is a bit of a grump, bit of a curmudgeon, bit of a scoundrel, and Papa can be a little much at times. But this is them in their element. This is them sharing the love of nature, the love of the world. Again, this is Mike's theology, right? This is all about appreciating what's around you, loving what's around you. Nature is everywhere, and God is in nature. And so if you love God, you have to love the world. And if you love the world, then you have to love nature, and you have to take care of the land you've been designated a shepherd of. Yeah. It's all Mike. It's all good. It's all right here in this picture. Gramps and Papa singing their hearts out. They get overheard by Grizzly Gran and Mama and the kids, and it's like, wow, they're singing. It sounds like they're having a nice Father's Day. And Gran's like, yeah, they're not doing any fishing. And Mama says, oh, I don't know. There are different kinds of fishing. You've heard about fishing for souls? Maybe that's what's going on out there. Which I think I get what Mama's getting at. I think I don't get what Mama's getting at. Whose souls are they fishing for? What it could be, though, is that they are about to pull a Hellraiser and like open up the gates to the Hellraiser world. And that's fishing for, then the Cenobites will come and they'll be fishing for souls. That's fishing for souls. They use actual hooks and chains to fish for their souls. So watch out, Grizzly Gran. Watch out, Mama. Papa and Gramps are fishing for souls now. They've got LaMarchand's box. They've got the Lament configuration. They're gonna open it up. Someone actually did a parody. Didn't someone do a parody book cover of the Berenstain Bears beat the Cenobites or something? I just happen to remember. I remember some sort of image like that. I could be thinking of another parody cover, but I believe someone's done a Hellraiser Berenstain Bears cover. If I'm right, don't tell me. If I'm wrong, don't tell me. I don't care. And then they come back. That's it. That's the whole book. Gramps and Papa come back. They don't have any fish. But they have something else, a feeling of peace deep down inside. And another thing, deep down inside, their stomachs. They're very hungry. So they sit at the picnic table, they say grace, Father's Day feast, everyone's happy, everyone's doing great. That's their Father's Day blessing. I believe this book really came together. It's a simple book. They go out, everyone decides to throw the fathers a nice Father's Day. The fathers enjoy it. And it ties into the religion thing really well, that they worship a God who they see as a father figure, a father of all, who's created everything. And so they give appreciation for that, but they don't spend all their time, in the boat praying. They spend all the time in the boat appreciating. And the way they appreciate it is by singing a song about how awesome the world is. And how awesome it is that they believe in a God who gave them all of this stuff. And that's I have the hiccups all of a sudden. That's a Father's Day to them. And it looks like they're sitting down to a pretty nice picnic of mashed potatoes and carrots and apples and it looks like sugar snap peas and there's a pot of something and I'm getting kind of hungry because I didn't eat much for dinner. But it looks like a nice. The Berenstain Bears picnics are always choice. They are always delightful and delicious. And that's the book. That is the book. That's the Berenstain Bears Father's Day blessings. There's really not a whole lot for me to say about it. It's a good book. It's a solid book. It's a good Father's Day book. If you're a religious family and you and you're looking for something to read about Father's Day, it's a little late now. Well, no, it's not, because I got mine on Kindle. I got mine as an ebook, and you can too. So if you're listening to this on Saturday and you're looking for something to read tomorrow with your father, Berenstain Bears Father's Day blessings, as long as you're cool with it being a religious book. If you're not cool with it being a religious book, sorry, y'all. That's the game this one's playing. So I'm not going to be singing hymns on my Father Day, but I will be very tired because I will have been at a concert the night before. They Might Be Giants, y'all. Anybody else going to They Might Be Giants in Minneapolis on the 13th? I'll be there. You'll see me if you're there. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for listening. If you're a father or you have a father and you like that father, or if you're a father and your children like you, I hope you have a happy Father's Day. If you're a father or you have a father and you don't like your father, or you are a father and your children do not like you, good luck making it through the day. I'm seriously, like if the day makes you sad, then don't deal with it. Don't do anything. It's just another Sunday. Just another manic Sunday. Go to a bookstore, go to a movie, go see something, treat yourself nice. Do something nice for yourself. Don't let the papas get you down. Don't let them get you down. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being a part of this wacky show. Go to my YouTube page. It's Raffish Ripoff, or just Phil Gonzalez. You can find all my shows there. You can watch me read this show, or do this show, say this show. You can watch me shimmy and shake, and you can see images from the books as I'm talking about them. So that's fun, isn't it? You also get to see what my room looks like behind me. You get to see the changes I make. Any new books popping up behind me, any new decorations, you'll be the first to know because you're the only ones who see this place, besides Alana and sometimes Mitzi. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for taking part of this thing. I promised Alana I would not talk about one certain thing in this episode, and I won't. So I'm not talking about it. So forget it. I'm not going to talk about it because I said I was possible for me not to. So okay, and I'll see you all next time. Huh? Yes. Deep in Bear